Black Friday. While so many people, we focused on shopping, a local group wants you to take some time out for fellowship. It's called Fellowship Friday, and joining us now to talk about it is Sherry Gilbert, the Executive Director of the Palm Beach Fellowship and of Christians and Jews. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You're excited about this event. Tell us about it.
Yes, well, it's a wonderful alternative to Black Friday shopping. It's a chance to kind of give back to the community. And we start out with a breakfast, which this year is being hosted by the St. Edward's Church. And we rotate among all the houses of worship every year. And following that, people will go to their choice of 5 different volunteer sites that we've arranged for them to go to.
Tell us some of the projects. What are the volunteer projects?
So one of them is the Ann Norton Sculpture Gardens to help out with the Festival of Trees preparation.
Nice.
We have a beach cleanup. We do that every year. We have the Big Dog Ranch Rescue, which is a very popular one. A lot of people like that. They go and play with the dogs. And that's the only one with an age restriction. You have to be at least 10 years old to do that and accompanied by an adult.
Do you have to sign up in advance for these?
Well, we would like people to do that because it helps the sites prepare for the number of people that are coming, and it helps us. And we also do, now I'm blanking.
There were so many great projects.
Yeah, well, there's an art project at a residential home,
Okay.
which is a lot of fun, and that's with Sandra Thompson, who's an artist from Palm Beach. She kind of directs that.
Why do you think it's so important that there is the alternative for that Black Friday shopping? You feel like you kind of lose the reason for the season, if you will?
Yeah, I think there's so much focus on that, and this is such a wonderful activity to do with your entire family. I know even when people have families in from out of town, they'll bring everybody along, and it's just, you put away the electronics for a couple hours and just bond with each other, and you get to meet. The whole point of it was to get you to work with the community.
Sure.
As our t-shirt, which the first 100 people to sign up will get one, it says connecting the community through doing good together. And that's kind of the point. We're trying to have people work side by side, get to know each other one-on-one, while doing something good at the same time.
Oh, I love it. It's fantastic. Fellowship Friday begins Friday morning at St. Edward's Catholic Church on Palm Beach. If people want to sign up, how do they do that?
Sure. The easiest way is to go to our Facebook page, and there's actually a link to a constant contact registration form there, and you can register multiple people from that as well.
So just look for Fellowship Friday on Facebook?
Well, look for the Palm Beach Fellowship. Go to the Palm Beach Fellowship of Christians and Jews page first, and then you'll find it on there.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing all this wonderful information.
Thanks.
I hope it's a huge success.
So do I. Thanks.
Stephanie Wilson, things over to you. Ladies, thank you. Nearly 50 million Americans will travel away from home for Thanksgiving, and few places are as busy as Chicago O'Hare International Airport, and that is where we find Orbitz travel editor Janine Tornatore. Janine, thank you so much. We checked in with you earlier during our morning show. How are things looking now as we head closer and closer towards noon in Chicago?
Well, everything's still looking pretty good, especially considering we have this weather system coming through the central part of the nation. I mentioned earlier O'Hare is the busiest airport in the country. Ebbs and flows of crowds here in this busy airport. But in Florida, everything's looking good in West Palm Beach. Sunny skies there, of course. We do see some slight delays in places like Houston and Detroit, and some possible delays in Minneapolis today. They're expecting a little snow, but overall, great weather for most of the country.
And Janine, is travel over the next few days, of course we know it's going to be hectic, but do you have any advice for our viewers when they get to the airport? Obviously there's TSA pre-check, but is that helping ease the security lines?
Certainly it does help ease the security lines, just having kind of the 2 separate areas where people can go. However, if you do have TSA pre-check, you still need to arrive as early as all of the other crowds. A lot more people have gotten TSA pre-check over the last couple of years, so it's going to be different even than what you experienced 6 to 8 months ago. So even though you have the expedited services, you still need to arrive early, but we're seeing lines moving pretty quickly now. They have some new measures in place, even in the general lines, to help things move a little quickly through those conveyor belts.
That is some good news. And Janine, real quick before you go, we know Chicago O'Hare, some of the employees were actually considering striking. Now, you're not seeing that. They've decided to hold off on that, correct?
That is correct. They decided to wait until next week. They didn't want to disrupt everyone's holiday travel, so we're all very thankful for that today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Janine Tornatore at the Chicago O'Hare International Airport for us. Thank you so much. Sandra, we'll send it over to you now. Janine mentioned that system moving across the country.
It is, and it's going to really be affecting a lot of the suburbs of the Chicago area and parts of the Midwest, and even parts of inland and northeast areas today in Pennsylvania and New York State. So we'll take a look at that momentarily right here. None of that. It's beautiful. We've got the lower to mid 70s up on the Treasure Coast. Mid 60s is as cool as we find around Lake Okeechobee. 76, good morning West Palm Beach. 78 degrees in Boca Raton. Daytime highs today somewhere in the upper 70s. And note, it looks like a little influx of clouds around spots. That's due to a weak frontal system and a little boundary that'll be kind of sliding across with no fanfare. And it's really not going to change our temperatures. We'll be mild overnight again with some clouds tonight. But I mean, we're not going to be lacking sunshine, maybe just not as bright as the last 2 days. Either way, as far as boating goes, it's a little bumpy out there. We do have an easterly flow, and that's helping pull in those mid-level clouds. A moderate chop, so take it easy. Sunset this evening, 5:27. Beachgoers, a low tide here just in about 10 minutes or so, and that's when you'll see the maximum amount of beach to enjoy if you want to take a stroll along the breakers. High tide later this afternoon at 3:45. Let's talk about that system, and here we go. Up in the Midwest, got a little bit of sleet going on. We've got some showers, and we have a little bit of squall activity down here around Texas and parts of Louisiana. All this moving eastward, and again, I think one of the most treacherous areas tonight would be inland Pennsylvania and New York State as that system does continue to track east. Also parts of the Mid-South and the Ohio Valley going to get a little wet as well. So take it easy if you have travel plans there. Here, if you're just heading into the kitchen trying to get things done, well, step outside because it's going to be gorgeous tomorrow. Awesome Thanksgiving forecast. Really doesn't get better than this. 80 degrees, lack of humidity, some sun, some clouds, but remaining dry. South Florida's most accurate 7-day forecast, painting a repetitive picture. One constant we find in play is the sunshine for the duration. Even beyond Black Friday and into the weekend, we hold steady with this weather pattern into next week. A little bit warmer for Thanksgiving Day with a high of 80, 81 Friday. As far as today goes, sky conditions, according to our SkyCast modeling, shows the real-time model interpretation of what it'll look like. And again, we'll see some clouds around, but also some sun breaks and some light east winds. Back to you.
Sandra, thank you. It is time for You Locals Hot Dogs Cool Cats. I'm here with Michelle from Peggy Adams Animal Rescue League, and we have two beautiful cats today. A little kitten, 2-month-old Faith is in my hands right now. I've been playing with her. She's been playing with my bracelet. Tell us about Faith, Michelle.
Well, Faith, like you said, she's 2 months old, so she's just a baby. She's super sweet. She's got the loudest purr. She's being toted all around the TV station, meeting everybody. She loves to be held. She's great playing with other kitties. She's just an all-around great kitty cat.
So pretty.
She is.
Pretty and playful. Would be great for a family with children, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah. And in your arms, I was saying that I had to remember his name. Axel. I think of Axl Rose.
He is pretty cool like Axl Rose. This guy is 12 years old, so he's much older than Faith. We've got young and old. He spent some time in a foster home with one of our staff members, so we learned lots about him. Aww. Apparently he has a bad habit of drinking out of the toilet. So
maybe he thinks he's a dog.
Maybe, but he's very sweet. He loves to have conversations with you. He'll meow away. He likes his wet food.
We heard him a lot in the newsroom talking to everyone.
Yes, he's very talkative.
And Peggy Adams Animal Rescue is having a Black Friday special?
We are. We're doing it big time again this year. We are opening our doors at 9 a.m., doing some early bird specials that last until 1. We're giving away tons of freebies to adopters. Some of those things include 6 months of heartworm meds for dogs, dog beds, flea medication for cats, cat carriers.
Oh, wow.
And we are doing free adoptions.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm sure, and you know, dogs are always very popular, but cats, you always have so many cats that need good homes.
We do. We get lots and lots of kitties. We still have plenty of kittens. So if you're looking for a kitty cat, we've got all ages, obviously.
And they're a lot of fun too. All right, Michelle, thank you so much. And we hope everybody takes advantage of that Black Friday deal because that's wonderful. You can get a new family friend for the holidays. If you have any questions about any of the animals, the cats you see here, or any other animals on their website, feel free to call Peggy Adams directly at 561-686-3663. Erin?
Sounds good. Thank you, Stephanie. The long holiday weekend means new movies premiere in the middle of the week, and the latest Disney animated musical lovers some new ground. It covers so much ground here, or really some water, taking us to the South Pacific. Check it out.
Legend tells of a hero who will journey to find the demigod Maui. And together, they will save us all.
Moana gives us two heroes, a wisecracking demigod who sounds a lot like Dwayne Johnson, and the title character voiced by Hawaiian teenager Auli'i Cravalho.
I'm not going on a mission with some little girl.
This is my canoe, and you will journey to different.
I'll admit, at first I was a little wary of any film that would be inspired by our culture. I wanted it to be done right. And before I was cast, I thought, oh boy, you know, I hope they do their research, and I can honestly say that they did.
I'm half black and half Samoan, so not only of someone of Polynesian descent, but also just as a lover of movies. You have a great movie that has a great message, you know, that's very compelling, and that you know, that speaks to all of us. Age, culture, doesn't matter. You always got to listen to the little voice we have in our hearts.
We read the wind and the sky when the sun is high.
The film's creative team traveled the South Pacific to absorb the region's traditions and culture. That included songwriter Lin-Manuel Miranda.
The people of the Pacific Islands are the greatest navigators in the world. They created a chain across a vast ocean using no maps and no compasses. And the way they did it was you keep the island you're from in a fixed position in your mind so that you can know where you're going. I mean, the metaphor of that knocks me out. The fact that it's literal is even more incredible.
Explorers reading every sign. We tell the stories of our elders in a never-ending chain.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Sandra is talking about that. She's going to take her daughter to see it.
Yeah, good movie. It's a pretty big weekend for Cravalho, who you just heard from in there yesterday, the day before the movie opened. Her first movie, by the way. She turned 16.
What a sweet 16 that is.
Not what I was doing.
And
when I was
of all,
16.
yeah, I was going to say, and of all people, you're with The Rock as your co-star.
I'm telling you. That's
awesome.
very cool. I hope it does well.
Well, we've been saying it all morning. Millions of Americans hitting the roads or headed to the airport, flying out of town for the holidays. We have a breakdown of that travel rush ahead.
And millions of Americans expecting a pay raise on December 1st. Well, they're in for a little bit of a shock coming up. The overtime that has just been delayed by a federal judge. We're going to explain why this new law has been delayed. Details coming your way.
And on this date in 1936, the first issue of the pictorial magazine Life was published, featuring a cover photo of the Fort Peck Dam by Margaret Burke White.
And Boston College's famed quarterback Doug Flutie throws a last-second 64-yard pass to beat the University of Miami 47-45.
Was that a big deal?
I guess so. I was one. We'll be right back.
Covering South Florida from the Palm Beaches to Boca Raton and the Treasure Coast. This is WPBF 25 News at 9.
Thank you so much for staying with us for WPBF 25 News at 9. I'm Stephanie Brzezinski.
And I'm Erin Guy. This morning, a record number of Americans are hitting the roads or catching a flight. Farron Salia is live at PBIA, where things are starting to pick up a little bit. What's it look like out there, Farron?
Yeah, absolutely. I went upstairs to see the lines of people that are checking their bags, and it's picking up out there. We're seeing dozens of people starting to make their way into the airport, so I know it's only a matter of time before we see more people going in through the security checkpoint lines right over here. And so far, as you can see in some of this video, things have moved really smoothly. What's helped with that is also the extra TSA staff. Nationwide, we know TSA hired an extra 14,000 workers. Not only that, but in an attempt to keep the lines down for you this Thanksgiving, the director says they also upgraded 2,000 employees to a full-time status. Now, all those things should help. PBIA says they've already had an uptick in flight sales, so it will be busy. They're advising people to come early. And one thing I want to make sure I warn everyone, I talk with passengers, they say that the parking lot outside is getting packed. So it took them a while to find a place to park. So if you do need to fly out this morning, I'm going to make sure not only do you give yourself more time for the security lines, but also if you're going to leave your car, it's going to take you a while to find a spot out here. I'm going to continue to let you know if there are any delays. Right now, that's not an issue, but I'll check back in. I'll have another report at noon and let you know if that changes at all. Live in West Palm Beach, I'm Farron Salia, WPBF 25 News.
Thanks, Farron. Good job. Time now is 9:32. Take a look at our quadruple sky camera from West Palm through the Treasure Coast, PBIA, and Boca Raton. Lots of sun, some mid-level clouds over the city right now, but no big deal. It's not humid out there. That's a refreshing change for us. Nice dry season pattern with 74 for Vero Beach, 76 in West Palm, 79. Good morning, Wellington. A little bit more gray sky coverage over in Boca at 76 degrees. Daytime highs today somewhere in the upper 70s to around 80 with a cloud-sun mix. A mild overnight tonight, but overall a lot of stability overhead under high pressure. Will remain pretty mild in the upper 60s for overnight lows and then hit on Thanksgiving with some sunshine and nice conditions close to 80 degrees. So if you're getting ready to get the table all set and welcome all your guests in, you've got a nice blessing here with a gorgeous forecast and 79 on the holiday. Back to you, girls.
All right, Sandra, thank you. Right now, President-elect Donald Trump is probably relaxing at his Mar-a-Lago estate on Palm Beach. He does plan to spend the Thanksgiving holiday there with his family.
It's actually Trump's first time in South Florida since his presidential election victory earlier this month. The Coast Guard has set up 3 restriction zones in Lake Worth Lagoon, the Intracoastal, and the ocean. Temporary flight restrictions also in place for private planes, not commercial flights, important to know.
Trump's future trips to his Palm Beach home are expected to give a boost to our local economy.
Everyone who travels with him, including the White House press corps, will spend money in Palm Beach County. And more tourists are expected to come here to see the president's Mar-a-Lago estate or at least visit the island.
That's a world stage for us, and I think it's really going to be a great opportunity for us to continue to get the message out about discovering the Palm Beaches.
Despite that optimism you heard right there, it's still too soon to estimate exactly how much of a boost those visits will give our local economy.
And while Trump spends his time in the Palm Beaches, he might not be as relaxed as I thought. There's no break from that transition of power.
Yeah, this as Mr. Trump opens up to the New York Times about his plans for office. Nicole Killian live in Washington this morning. And Nicole, let's start with that potential announcement we're expecting to hear today.
Yeah, well, we've already gotten it as of, I guess, about 45 minutes or so ago, where the president-elect did officially announce that he has chosen South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley to serve as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, which is significant because it makes her the first woman to be selected for a top-level post in his administration. The governor saying that she's honored to serve with the president-elect. Now, last night, the president-elect arrived in the Palm Beaches, as you mentioned, after giving a wide-ranging interview to the New York Times. He told the paper that he will not press for an investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server. He also pushed back on his business dealings, saying the president can't have a conflict of interest, and he defended his selection of Steve Bannon as White House strategist and disavowed alt-right supporters, saying it's not a group rather that he wants to energize. Back to you.
And Nicole, what else came out of that New York Times interview? Has there been any reaction to the president-elect's comments?
You know, a couple of other things to note. He seemed to back away from a campaign pledge to pull the U.S. out of an international climate change agreement, telling the paper now that he will keep an open mind. He also said that he liked President Barack Obama after meeting him at the White House earlier this month. He is getting some pushback to those comments he made about Hillary Clinton, especially among some conservatives, which are accusing him of betrayal and breaking his promise.
And Nicole, going back to Trump's businesses, that's been a big headline. Even though he says there can't be a conflict of interest, could there actually be one?
Well, look, there is a clause that prevents presidents from accepting or receiving compensation from services or employment, and most presidents really have tried to steer clear of that clause in their own dealings, in the sense that they don't want to present any type of conflict potentially. So Trump's team has insisted that he will comply with the law. Obviously, he is in a more unique position than some of his predecessors coming from a business background, but he has said that he will face control of his business to his children. Back to you.
Nicole Killian live in Washington. Thanks, Nicole. Of course, a lot of big decisions could be made over this holiday weekend.
Right here in our backyard. Now it's time to get a check of your Happening Now headlines.
And police in Detroit say a man is being held as a person of interest in the shooting of a Wayne State University police officer.
Hard to believe.
29-year-old officer Colin Rose was shot in the head late last night. Investigators say he had just radioed in when the shots were fired. At the time, he was preparing to question someone about some kind of a break-in. Rose is in surgery this morning.
We heard actually that he did well in the surgery. He's actually now recuperating in critical condition, but a fifth officer in fifth officer this week to be shot.
Yeah, really sad. The giant Kansas City water slide that 10-year-old boy died on will permanently shut down. The park says safety of its staff and guests top priority, and getting rid of the slide is the only proper course of action. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused the boy's fatal neck injury.
And a federal court has blocked a new overtime law. That law would have made millions of higher-earning workers across the country eligible for overtime pay starting December 1st. Opponents of the rule say it would force layoffs and cuts in working hours. A billboard has some people in Oklahoma outraged. It questions if convicted rapist Daniel Holtzclaw is innocent.
This is a story that made national headlines. The billboard showed a photo of former Oklahoma City police officer and convicted rapist Daniel Holtzclaw with a simple question. What if he didn't do it? A question mark right there. Earlier this year, the 29-year-old was convicted on 18 counts of rape. Prosecutors say he chose his victims because they were poor, uneducated, and many had criminal records. The advertisement was for an upcoming documentary examining the case.
I think the location of it is the issue. This is where he was basically terrorizing women. This is about protecting survivors. And imagine driving down I-44, you don't know that that's there, and you look up and there's a picture of him.
Tyler Media, the company who owns the billboard, posted on Facebook saying, in the best interest of the community, Tyler Media has removed that advertisement.
Facebook is building a censorship tool, but it's not exactly what you might think.
According to the New York Times, the software would block certain posts from users' news feeds in some parts of the world. Now, according to the Times, the move is designed to appeal to China, where Facebook is currently blocked. The company is not denying the report, saying only that its China strategy is still a work in progress, but, you know, interesting. No comment there. Anyway, the holiday is officially here. We can't talk about that. It's time for celebrations, family, friends, and of course, a lot of good food.
That's right. So here are some ways, oh, come on, you can stay healthy during the holiday season.
It's not fun.
Most people look forward to the holidays, but not to the extra pounds that often come along with all those delicious dinners and treats. Still, there are ways to enjoy the festivities without sabotaging your fitness plans. Stay active. Use exercise to offset the extra calories. You don't have to hit the gym. House cleaning, dancing, even walking around the mall can raise your heart rate. Eat breakfast. Experts say starting the day with a small but satisfying breakfast can give you more control over your appetite. That can help give you the willpower to be more discriminating in your food and beverage choices, and it will help you with portion control. Tempting as it may be, try not to overfill your plate. Experts recommend sticking with holiday favorites and skipping foods you can have all year round. Eat slowly, savor each item, and put your fork down between bites. This will help you to skip the second helpings. You'll have more room for a delicious dessert. Finally, go easy on alcohol. The calories in wine, beer, or liquor can add up pretty quickly. Try alternating alcoholic beverages with a glass of water. You'll stay hydrated, healthier, and less likely to be making a round of post-party apologies. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
I love that post-party apologies.
Oops.
Water.
Sorry for all the wine.
I don't want to think about the calories. I just want to enjoy.
Just one day or two with
or
leftovers.
the weekend. 4. Astronauts are proving you don't have to be here on Earth to celebrate Thanksgiving. The International Space Station commander Shane Kimbrough explains their out-of-the-world holiday meal.
So of course we're going to have our food's a little bit different. So here's our turkey right here. So it's going to be in a pouch. We'll heat this up and it'll taste really good, just like you're having it at home.
The mic's floating. That's so cool.
It is really cool. This will be his second Thanksgiving in space, and he says Mission Control will send some live football to complete the tradition. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know how good that turkey tastes, though, coming out of the bag.
The ISS Thanksgiving will be an international affair. A French astronaut and 2 Russian cosmonauts will also enjoy the candied yams, stuffing, and blueberry cobbler. Not too bad. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. A unique effort is underway to make the holidays brighter for some local families whose parents have worked in construction. Joining us right now is the president and founder of Construction Angels, Christy Roniak. Christy, it's so good to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Stephanie.
You know, we had a phone conversation not too long ago about construction accidents. We've already had